All right. So this is about administration of Oskari, and then about the purchasing or acquiring Oskari service for whatever purpose one need to. For. And let's start with the administration part first. So administration is there are basically two main layer parts into administration. Like Juho earlier presented, there is the uh, Oskari service for managing the map layers and showing them. And then he talked about and displayed this published map functionality, which allows to show a limited section of available layers and services. And the administration can be arranged along these lines as well. I'm going to go first through uh, managing of map layers, managing of users, and user roles were mentioned because we don't manage, we don't tie users directly to a certain things, but we group users by roles and give roles the rights to do certain things. And there is the question of what is the default view when you start up Oskari service or when the user comes into it. And from an administrative point of view, there is a need to monitor the availability or potential problems of the map layers. And then if you go into this administering the embedded maps and you build your management around that, then there are certain differences and possibilities as well. And then sometimes administrators have need to announce things to users in general, whether they are using the embedded maps or if they are using the Oskari service directly. So first, when administrator signs in into Oskari, on the right we have the regular view of the map layers. This is from paikkatietoikkuna. And here we can see various actual layers. These others here are just groupings of different layers by themes. And when we open one of the layers by the editing with this pen symbol here, the administration flyout or window will open. There is also the question of how to add new layer, and there are a few steps. I'm not gonna go through more those in detail, but one ends up in this window at the end of it anyway. Here we have bitmap, meaning WMS layer. And here is the essential thing, which is the URL describing or accessing the layer. If needed, this layer may be protected by the username and password. And this is not an Oskari username or password. This is the data provider's username and password, which is required for Oskari to access the data. And there's the question of which version of the interface standard is used. What is the coordinate system supported? And here is the unique name in the service, which is used to access one of the layers among many. What does Oskari present as a layer name in Finnish and other languages in English or Swedish? And who is the data provider? And what group this layer belongs to? In this case, this layer belongs to a group called natural risk zones. Now, there are other things in addition to this basic information that can or needs to be configured. The visualization, the additional. I'll go through these next. So first the visualization, and now I changed into from WMS layer into vector layer because it has more possibilities in terms of configuration. So earlier you saw that there is this layer opacity. It is something in the Oskari itself, and it can be also changed in the published map. And here is the basic value that is given to the layer, which in this case is 100%. The other one is that what are the zoom levels or scale levels that the user is allowed to view the layer. It can be anything from no restriction, meaning to the closest and farthest away, or for various reasons it may be limited. One of the reasons why you might want to limit, especially vector layers, is that if you have a lot of layers, let's say at the zoom level where the whole Finland is seen, maybe you don't want to allow users to look at those because that will generate a lot of traffic. Because if you have, say, let's say 2 million objects in the zoom level, which is farthest away, for instance, so there's the user's browser will need to download all those 2 million objects to be visible. So this is one of the reasons. The other might be that you don't have the data available, so you just give the scaling levels that makes sense. This collection type is a broad level generalization to give an idea to Oskari that do we have lots of small objects or large ones. And there is a feature highlighting and tooltip, but this is a general introduction, and these both are advanced topics from this point of view. The next will be the additional or filtering. Now we have the layer in question, and if we want to make the published map, this is actually the important thing, which is the identifier that the Oskari uses to refer to this layer later. And one of the things might be that if you use this layer in a published map and you later want to change this layer, that there are issues that you need to take care of in order not to break your published map. This is for getting the capabilities response from the interface providing this layer info. And it's also possible to update regularly. And here you can set the rate if needed. If you want to, the file identifier here refers to IDs, an XML file that gives information about this layer. And usually it might come in the capabilities response, but perhaps you want to override it, so you can do it here. The geometry type in this case, because we are talking about the vector layers, gives us the possibility to tell that this layer only has, let's say, points, lines, or polygons. And this filtering here gives the possibility to filter for this layer from all available objects, only the certain objects according to the criteria. And next will be the JSON tab. And here we can see the capabilities that have been parsed for this layer. It's rather long, but here you can see the except where uh, the coordinate system used is visible, and also the bounding box, which means the box that all the information provided in the layer is within this box. It might be whole Finland. It might be just, let's say, the Uusimaa or Lapland or whatever, but it determines where the information is available for this layer. And then if these were the layer related issue, what the information looks like, how the proper information is received, and how the meta information is received. Then the last one is the permissions or the rights. And here we have the first of all, the main permission that we can grant to given you a role or a user group. In this regard, administrator does not refer to administrator user. It refers to a role, or if user belongs to the group or role of administrator, he or she is an administrator. Now, this is allows to see the map. This is for giving user the right to see the published map that and this allows user to upload information, which can be also map layers information, and this allows the user to download the information. So in general, very few users are allowed to download, and maybe some user groups are not even allowed to see the published maps, and some others are, and maybe users are also allowed to import their own data to be used in the Oskari instance. All right. And now this is the basic administration functions in Oskari for our users. Now we come back to these embedded maps. Because now, like Juho was showing earlier, users can be limited to use embedded maps only. And this restriction can be done by the domain address, like Juho showed, and the user name. And this means that any regular users, or there's also a possibility that if you restrict the access to the published map by domain address only, you don't need to worry about the usernames at all. And while this RPC application thing is not, strictly speaking, an administrative issue, the published maps can be extended in terms of functionality with the RPC application, and the same administrative issues are relevant there, just as I mentioned. And those samples that you have provided, there are, like, for instance, the fishing limits, the kalastusrajoitukset. That's a good example of published map with the RPC application and no restrictions. Anybody can access. Just to review it again, I'm gonna go through this without displaying anything yet on the actual Oskari service, but the regular Oskari usage is that there is a Oskari-based map service like paikkatietoikkuna, and the users have roles, and they can view only some of the data, all the data. That would be typically the administrator user. And then there are users who can view and edit also, not just edit. And in published map setup, the essentially the main Oskari-based map service is closed system, not available by default to the everybody. And different published map applications are the ones that the users use. Now, from the administrative point of view, there might be very good reasons to use published map-based approach instead of the Oskari instance and then limiting things there. And vice versa. Sometimes you want to be able to use the Oskari-based map service for that. And before we go to the acquisition of Oskari issues, I'm going to reiterate some of the things on the web interface. Okay. So this is a paikkatietoikkuna that Juho was showing earlier. And here I'm logged in as an administrator. So some of the things are not available or visible when a regular user is looking at the interface. From the map layers, here we have the map layers, and here we have the editing capability or possibility. Oops, sorry. Okay, just to add a little bit. So these map layers belong to this theme group, and this theme can be edited through here, but these actual layers are edited from here. So this is the user interface that I was showing earlier for a different type of layer. Now, the other administrative functions are here then. If administrator wants to make an announcement available here, or even in published maps, it's possible. The announcements are done from here. And these are just testing data. I'm going to spend my time here so much. The map layer permissions are available here. And then I skipped it, but there is this admin function to define what is the default view. So the default view here is the whole of Finland. And demo.oskari.org, Sami mentioned earlier, this is the sample site. You can log in here as an admin or as a regular user. And you can inspect the functionalities here. As you can see, we have some of the admin functions here as well. We have the map layers. We have the editing capabilities here. Now, when you edit this, you don't, of course, edit the Helsinki City 3D layer itself, but how demo Oskari is accessing it. And you can open it up here and you get to these similar things here. Now, the permissions are also here. So administrator has following layers that he or she are available, and what are the rights that you may want to, if you want to give all the rights, fine, or if you want to edit it here, that's fine. You can try this. And there's a quest, and we can see that the guest has certain rights, but including the published map rights. If you want to add or change users, here are the users, And here are the roles that there are. And I'm currently admin, and it's here shown that what are the admins belonging to the role admin. And here is the default view, which is the global default view. Now, if you were sharp and you are looking at the video recording later, you will notice that there are other things as well. User will not, I will not open because that would be information that we really cannot show. But layer monitor is not available in the demo, Oskari, but it's here, and it can give you an idea that there are layers. And the failed displays, there is a layer with 98% failures. Now, there might be many reasons for failures, starting from broken data connections and going up to problems local in the local machine where this browser is running, and something in between. So it's not the simple tool that immediately will tell all the troubles and then you just go and click and it will fix them. But it will give you an idea if you have problems. I mean, it's designed to help the administration of a site. Now this site is large, that's with several thousand players, but this site is a little bit simpler because the amount of layers is less than 10 at the moment, but this site is also reset every night, so which means that you can also test things and without the fear that it will break from it or something. All right. Now, I'm not gonna repeat, but I'm gonna just reiterate that here is the published map that you have made already. And here are the layers available. But what is here available is decided by the tools in Oskari used to create this published map. So it's not these tools here used to edit these layers, but here the map publishing tool that you was displaying, just to make sure that the concepts you don't mix the concepts, right? And now I go back to the different part.
Do you want to quickly skim through the acquisition of Oskari, and then we let Sami to speak?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So when purchasing Oskari, usually the main points of purchasing Oskari are listed below here. But the first question is actually that are you doing this first time, or have you familiarized yourself with Oskari beforehand? Because if you are not familiar with Oskari and you would like to proceed with perhaps getting a service up and running and testing it and so on, so then I would say that your first and foremost point of entry or interest is actually oskari.org. So here is the oskari.org, and there is a whole page on instructions for procurement, and I'm not gonna repeat all of this, but it's a very good source, if nothing else. Now the other thing, first time, is the questions. There are questions like, so where do I where can I find a contact with people that actually know more about this than I do? And we have there is a page called community. And at the end of it's actually here, and at the end of the community, we have a various consultation firms offering professional services. And before them, we have this joint development forum where, and we have Oskari days, and some of the individuals have even allowed their names and faces to be visible here. So these could be your starting points if you are truly coming out of not knowing anything. And we have Oskari days and different other occasions. I think they will be mentioned later, where people can come like into this webinar and get more information about. So that's when you start from nothing. But when you have an idea, then you are already and you are a bit more knowledgeable, then you start to follow the basic purchasing ideas law, defining your needs actually, somehow being able to verbalize that what is it that you actually need. And when you recognize that you need expertise, now you have the pointers where to start. And the tailoring is possible, what would be and what kind of, and so there are other multiple sources available for that. And then even if you have already one instance running and you need to upgrade or do something, then that might be another use case or scenario where you come into play. And the other thing is that you have to think about the continuity. So who will maintain? And I think the network and learn from others is the first idea that you should do. That not all the things have to be done by trial and error. You can actually enjoy the trial and error of others and listen to. So there is a material in the Oskari org, and there will be these live events where you can come and go and come and ask. A couple of words about the Oskari continuity at the development that Sami and I have to about stop now, or Sami will have some time to talk about it. But this is open source system, and it is continuing. And of course, it's just as strong as the whole community behind it. So, but it is there. And like I said, the Oskar community is the place to go to. And here is the. All right. And I think I'm done here. So I don't know if you have any questions, you can ask, or you can defer them to the later, and we can let Sami to speak and use the rest of the time.